Why, in 2025, is sex education still treated like it's this shameful, taboo topic? Who decided that teaching kids about their own bodies, relationships, consent, and safety is somehow promoting sex? Can we just stop with that ridiculous narrative? Comprehensive sex education is not a green light for teens to run around recklessly. It's literally a survival guide. Kids and teens are naturally curious. They want to understand their bodies, their feelings, and how relationships work. If we don't give them accurate information in a safe environment, guess what? They're going to find it somewhere else. And often, somewhere else is unsafe. It could be online from peers who don't know better or from adults who shouldn't be trusted. That's why teaching consent, boundaries, and the reality of grooming is non-negotiable. Telling kids don't trust strangers is laughably inadequate when most abuse happens at the hands of someone they do trust. Family members, close friends, teachers, mentors. And before anyone says, well, it's normal to talk about it now, don't fool yourself. In many countries and communities, sex education is still considered shameful and taboo, and young people are left completely unprepared because cultural stigma prevents honest conversation. Schools and adults keep tiptoeing around the topic like they're afraid of the truth. They water it down until it's practically useless. They act like teaching anatomy and basic facts about reproduction is enough, when it's not. Real sex education should be honest, raw, and comprehensive. It should explain everything, what actually happens during sex, how pregnancy works, the physical and emotional toll it takes, and why safe practices matter. You can't protect anyone by hiding reality. Let's talk about teenage pregnancy, because that's something that's constantly brushed under the rug. Teen pregnancy is not some cute coming-of-age story or miracle of life moment. It's serious, and it's dangerous. When a teenager gets pregnant, their body isn't fully developed yet. Their bones, hormones, and immune system are still growing. That makes pregnancy far riskier for them compared to adults. They're at higher risk of complications like preeclampsia, anemia, premature labor, and even death. Yes, death. Pregnancy and childbirth are among the leading causes of death for teenage girls globally. According to the World Health Organization, complications from pregnancy and childbirth are among the leading causes of death for teenage girls aged 15 to 19 worldwide. That's not some scare tactic, that's a fact. When the body isn't ready, it struggles to support both the mother and the baby, which can lead to fatal outcomes for one or both. The risks are real, and yet society acts like it's not that big of a deal. And even if the mother survives, the emotional and mental toll is enormous. Your hormones spike and crash, your body changes dramatically, your sleep schedule disappears, and your stress skyrockets. You're still a kid yourself, suddenly responsible for another life. It's not just about having a baby, it's about raising one. Parenthood isn't a fairy tale full of cute baby giggles. It's sleepless nights, constant crying, expensive hospital bills, and emotional exhaustion. You sacrifice your education, your personal goals, and sometimes even your identity. It's not something you can just figure out along the way. You are responsible for another human being's entire existence, every decision, every need, every crisis. And both sides, male and female, need to be educated on this, because too often the girl bears all the consequences while the boy gets to shrug it off. That's not how responsibility works. Both people created that pregnancy. Both should be accountable. I'm tired of hearing boys say it's her fault or it's her problem. No, it takes two to tango. If you're mature enough to have sex, then you're mature enough to deal with the consequences. You don't get to disappear when things get real. Pregnancy isn't a one-person issue, it's a shared responsibility. The idea that only the girl has to deal with it is outdated, sexist, and cowardly. Now let's talk about something people rarely bring up properly, sexually transmitted infections, STIs, because pretending they don't exist doesn't make anyone safer. Unprotected sex can lead to infections like HIV, syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, herpes, and HPV. Some of these can be treated, some can't, and all can have lifelong consequences. HIV attacks the immune system, making you vulnerable to other infections for life. HPV can cause genital warts and several cancers, including cervical, anal, and throat cancer. Chlamydia and gonorrhea can cause pelvic inflammatory disease, PID, leading to infertility. Syphilis can spread to the brain and nervous system, causing permanent damage or death if untreated. And here's the scary part. Some STIs don't show symptoms for months or even years, meaning you can spread them without knowing. That's why getting tested regularly isn't weird or untrusting. It's responsible. You have the right to know what's happening inside your own body, and your partner deserves honesty too. And yes, protection matters. Condoms aren't just about preventing pregnancy, they reduce the risk of STIs by up to 98% when used correctly. Birth control pills, IUDs, implants, and patches can prevent pregnancy, but they don't protect against infections. That's why it's so important to use condoms and talk openly about testing and contraception. Safe sex isn't dirty. It's not sinful. It's smart. It's a sign of self-respect and care for your partner. Yet adults twist it into something shameful. They say don't talk about it and then panic when teen pregnancy rates rise, or when kids end up traumatized because they didn't know what consent meant. You can't have it both ways. You can't silence education and then be shocked by the consequences of ignorance. Silence doesn't protect innocence, it destroys it. And something no one even talks about in sex education is same-sex sex. It's like it doesn't exist, like only heterosexual relationships are worth discussing or protecting. That silence isn't neutral, it's harmful. LGBTQ plus teens are left to figure everything out on their own, and that kind of ignorance is dangerous. They still have bodies, they still form relationships, and they still deserve to know how to stay healthy, safe, and respected. Pretending same-sex sex doesn't exist doesn't stop anyone from being gay, bi, or queer. It just makes them more vulnerable to misinformation, fear, and shame. Comprehensive sex education means all forms of sex and relationships should be addressed, not just those between a man and a woman. Another crucial point: sex education prevents unhealthy relationships with sex itself, including hypersexuality and pornography addiction. Hypersexuality isn't just caused by trauma, it can also arise from early exposure to porn, unrealistic sexual media, and curiosity without guidance. When teens are educated about their bodies, boundaries, consent, emotional health, and sexual health, they are less likely to turn to pornography as their main source of information, or to develop compulsive sexual behaviors. Comprehensive sex education gives them knowledge, perspective, and emotional tools, helping them understand healthy sexual behavior, self-respect, and moderation. So that's why teens don't have sex if you're not ready for adult responsibilities. Being sexually active comes with real consequences: pregnancy, STIs, and emotional or social challenges. Waiting until adulthood gives you the time to understand your body, your emotions, and your limits. Don't fall for anyone telling you that sex is fun or good right now. It's only truly safe and responsible when you're mature enough to handle it. Stay safe, protect your health, and make informed choices. Educate yourself, know the risks, and seek out trustworthy resources about consent, safe practices, and sexual health so you're prepared when the time is right.